If you've ever wondered what the steps are to creating an online coaching business, especially if you are starting from scratch and you know that you have a calling to be able to serve others and you feel compelled to share your personal experience and your professional training, but this whole online business thing is kind of doing your brain in, this video is for you because I'm going to go through the exact 9 steps, giving you the ultimate guide to creating your online coaching business. Ready? Let's dive in. So for me, creating an online coaching business wasn't ever something that I aspired to have. I didn't even know I was doing it when I was doing it. All I knew was that I wanted more flexibility and I wanted more freedom. I definitely wanted freedom of location. And I also wanted to know that I was helping as many people as I could possibly help. My background is in personal training and holistic nutrition. And so for me, I was taught to work with people on a one-to-one basis. And so this idea of being able to work in a one-to-many format while I could stay home, while people couldn't see, what kind of pants I'm wearing, although I am wearing jeans at this point. But for a long time, it was like my PJ pants. That just felt like the way that I wanted to serve people. I wanted to be able to serve people. I wanted to be able to have a business that really supported my ideal lifestyle. And I couldn't have that in a one-to-one way. I couldn't have, the flexibility and the freedom that I really desired. And quite honestly, the financial independence in a one-to-one format. And so when I started my coaching business, I didn't know that I was going to have an online coaching business. I was just selling digital products. I was working online and I had programs that I created and I sold online. And so what I wanted to go through with you in this video, in this training, is really the steps that I took and the steps that I teach practitioners and coaches in my 6-month all-inclusive coaching program called Zero to Clients. Because I wish that someone would have just given me the roadmap instead of me having to, piecemeal it all together and think, okay, what's my next step? And what's my next step? Okay, I did this and now I don't know what to do next. And so if you're thinking about going online, if you're thinking about having an online coaching business, I really do hope that this helps to give you the lay of the land and to give you sort of that 30,000 foot overview so that you know what you're getting into. And it's not just you having an online coaching program thinking that the online coaching program or the membership site or whatever it is that you're doing is the totality of your business, because it's not. So let's dive into the 9 steps that cumulatively give you the ultimate guide for practitioners to set up an online coaching business. So step number 1, this is an absolute must. This is the one success criteria that must be met in order for the rest of the steps to work. Because if we don't meet this step 1, if we don't meet this success criteria, the rest of it is going to be very difficult. It's not going to make sense. It's not going to be cohesive, and you're going to have a very hard time growing an audience and getting clients. So step number 1 is define your niche and your persistent painful problem and your ideal client. So that is 3 things that it is the success criteria. And most practitioners and coaches don't understand what it is to niche. They think that niching is wellness, that niching is intuitive eating, that niching is plant-based eating, that niching is vitality or energy. And those things are not niches. A niche is sort of like a sub-industry, right? So a niche could be weight loss, for example. A niche could be acne. A niche can be gut health. A niche could be fertility, things of that nature. A niche could be trauma. Like that is a niche. And in this day and age, niching isn't even enough. Niching isn't even enough because it's still too broad. And the way that people are using the internet to find help, to find solutions means that we as the experts, we as the practitioners and coaches need to be hyper specific from the start of the condition that we help people with, their persistent painful problem, and who they are, meaning their ideal client. Who your ideal client is. And so an example of that is the condition would, let's say, be IBS, right? The persistent painful problem that IBS causes is bathroom emergencies. The ideal client is, an over 40-year-old woman, a professional working woman. So think about from that perspective, this over 40 professional working woman who has IBS and is suffering from bathroom emergencies. And so the condition that you are helping with is IBS, but the persistent painful problem isn't just IBS, it's that she has bathroom emergencies. And so then we say, okay, how is IBS, the condition, and the persistent painful problem, bathroom emergencies, negatively impacting her life, her intimate relationships, her marriage, her relationships with her kids, her career, her financial, her finances, her physical health, her mental health, and her environment. And so when we have the niche, the condition, the persistent painful problem, and the ideal client, now you're able to, and we have that clear, right? So it could be, the condition could be, let's just say, fertility. The persistent painful problem is that they've been trying for less than a year and they can't get pregnant, and she's freaking out that she's not going to be able to get pregnant, right? And the ideal client could be a 35-year-old who, is moderately overweight, whatever the description of the ideal client is. And so now when we have this success criteria, when we have your niche, the condition, the persistent painful problem, and the ideal client, now we can really move on and actually start to build these elements that make up your online coaching business. So that was step one. Step two, once we have that, you're going to develop your UVP, your unique value proposition. What sets you apart? And so I know so many practitioners and coaches think that their niche is saturated, right? That their niche is saturated, and that, how are they going to stand out? Why would anybody want to work with me? Why would anybody want to pay me money? And the reality is the way that you stand out is by being hyper specific. That is how you stand out. And so with your UVP, your unique value proposition, I just call this an elevator pitch. It's really one to two sentences. It's something along the lines of, I work with women who, I work with 40-year-old plus working professional women who have IBS or IBS like symptoms, who are suffering from bathroom emergencies. That is what makes you stand out. Versus, I'm a health coach and I work with people who have digestive system issues. That's like blend right in with the crowd. And so in order for you to develop your UVP, you need to satisfy step number one, which is why I said it's the one success criteria. And if you don't get that, you're not going to be able to do the rest of the steps. And so now that you have your unique value proposition, which again is, I work with ideal clients. So I work with women 40 plus. I work with professional working women 40 plus who have IBS or IBS like symptoms. So what is the condition? Who are suffering from, what is the persistent painful problem? Bathroom emergencies, right? That's what sets you apart. And so then once we have that, now we are able to move into step number 3, which is creating your signature coaching program, your online coaching program. And when you have step number 1 nailed, it's very easy to then say, well, obviously my coaching program is going to satisfy, get rid of the condition that my ideal client is suffering from. So many practitioners and coaches come into my world. Either they come and join me in the Wellness Business Hub Facebook group, or they come into Zero to Clients, which is my 6-month all-inclusive business coaching program. And I say to them, okay, what do you want to do your coaching program on? Expecting them to tell me the condition. And they don't even know. And that's totally fine. But I hope you can see how step number 1 and step number 3, so your niche, the condition, the persistent painful problem, and the ideal client, how it completely connects to the coaching program. So how are you going to deliver results? Right? You want to work with somebody who, for example, has IBS and bathroom emergencies. Well, how are you going to deliver on that promise, right? The idea is to get rid of IBS so that they no longer have bathroom emergencies. With the fertility example, the idea, you obviously can't promise a pregnancy, but the idea is, so how are you going to deliver on that? How are you going to optimize the body so that she has a better chance of getting pregnant? How are you going to give her back some control so that she has a better chance of getting pregnant? And so that's what you're promising. You're promising a coaching program that walks them through how to detox and optimize the body to increase the chances of natural fertility. And now we can say, okay, cool. How am I going to deliver on that? What are the steps that my ideal client needs to take in order for me to deliver on that promise? And so when we're thinking about your coaching program, whether it's 8 weeks or 12 weeks or 16 weeks, the whole idea is for you to heal, fix, minimize, resolve the condition that is causing your ideal client suffering. So maybe it's acne, maybe it's perimenopause, maybe it's ADHD. Obviously, we can't solve the ADHD condition, but you can solve the symptoms that are causing the problem. Right. So I work with professional women who have ADHD and can't seem to lose weight. I work with professional women who have ADHD and can't advance in their careers. Like, you can't solve for ADHD, but what painful problem is ADHD causing, for example? And so when we think about that, then you can say, oh, okay, well, if it's, the painful problem with, for example, ADHD is that they can't advance in their career because they lack executive functioning. Well, now you have a coaching program. Right now you can say, I help women who, are career driven. I help women with ADHD who are career driven ascend to the next level and get the promotion. How? By working through my 12-week program on executive functioning and nervous system regulation and blah, blah, blah. Right? So it's all tied back to what we did in step number 1. So now that you have identified your signature coaching program topic, now we have to talk about, within step number 3 as well, the type of coaching program that you're going to offer, because there are 4 different options for coaching support. And so if you're not certain which one you would like, I actually have a link to my quiz that you can take in the description. Go and take it. It will explain all 4 types of coaching support that you can include in your online coaching program. It's totally free. It's fun. It'll take you about 2 minutes to complete, and that link is below this video in the description. Okay, moving on. Step number 4. Once you have your niche and your ideal client, and you have your UVP, your elevator pitch, and your coaching program, and now it's time to step out from behind the computer and build your online presence. Now you have to actually show up. You have to start putting yourself out there. And so old school would be, you got to build a website. but you don't anymore. The reality is you don't have to build a website anymore. What you have to have more than a website these days are properly set up social media pages, specifically LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. Why? Because those are search engines. When somebody types your name into Google, your personal Facebook page, your LinkedIn profile, your Instagram page, those things will pop up well before your website ever will. And so the beginning stages of building your online presence is making sure that your social media platforms are set up and they are cohesive with a brand image and your bio that includes your UVP, your elevator pitch, and making sure that you are setting up Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram to be SEO search friendly. So make sure that you are doing that. And then we move into step 5, which is now, of course, content creation and marketing strategy. So, just to do a little recap, we have the niche and we have the ideal client. You know the condition that your ideal client suffers from, and you know that what the persistent, painful problem is that is caused by having the condition, right? So, when somebody says to me, I work with people who have trauma, and I'm like, okay, well, why is that a problem for people? Like, why is trauma a problem? And then they start to tell me because they're stuck in life and they're this and they're that. And I'm like, great, that's what you need to talk about, right? And so when we talk about content creation and marketing strategy, we want to make sure that it is hyper specific to the condition, to the persistent, painful problem, and you're using examples and language that your ideal client uses. One of the best piece of advice that I got when I was first starting is you want to enter the conversation that your ideal client is having in their head. And so one of the things that I think is so troubling and so challenging for practitioners and coaches is that we are nerds. We like reading research and we like taking certifications and we like learning and we think other people do too. And they don't. They don't. They don't want to be educated on subject matter. They don't want to be educated on, the science behind liver detoxification or the HPA axis. No, they want to be told what to eat for dinner. They want to be told how to breathe. They want you to tell them what kind of sports bra you're wearing while you're doing your workout at home. That's what people want. And so it's our job to be able to take the education that we've learned over the years and our personal experience and distill it down into bite-sized pieces of content that when your ideal client is scrolling social media stands out to them. That's the content creation strategy that we're looking for. It's like, how do I get my ideal client's attention? Well, it's by being hyper specific and talking about the condition that they have and the problems that are being caused by it. So that when they are scrolling, they're going to be like, oh yeah, bathroom emergencies, three tips to avoid bathroom emergencies when on a work trip. If you're scrolling and you have IBS, you're stopping on that post. 100% you are. Because that is an experience that you've experienced. That is something that you have gone through. And so when we talk about content creation and marketing strategy, if it feels to you like you're throwing spaghetti at the wall, I guarantee it's because you didn't do step number 1 properly. It's because it's still too broad and it's still too generic and you don't have a condition and you don't have a persistent painful problem and you do not have an ideal client. Because if you did, then it's just sitting down and realizing like, okay, well, what questions would my ideal client have? What are they doing? Why isn't it working? And it is, your content creation is all about your ideal client. It's not you educating them on what IBS is. They don't care. Just tell me how to fix it. Right? So that is step number 5, content creation and marketing strategy. Step number 6, lead generation and list building. when I work with clients in zero to clients, when I work with practitioners and coaches in ZTC, and they come to me and they say, I don't have engagement. They come to me and say, I thought more people would register for my webinar. And I'm like, how big is your audience? A lot of your success is determined by audience size, because 1 to 4% of your audience will take an action. And you might think, oh my gosh, only 1 to 4%. That's not a lot. It is what it is. That's what it is, right? And so if you have 10 people on your email list, right? That's if you have 100 people on your email list. And so the goal is lead gen and list building. And so you can do this in a variety of ways, but the easiest way is to set up a lead gen funnel where you have a freebie, a PDF, where you are giving your ideal clients actual value, not fluff. Like, don't tell people to drink water, right? Everybody knows they need to drink water. Everybody knows they need to have fiber and eat fruits and vegetables. They already know that and they're not doing it. So we want to make the strategies that you are giving them in your freebie specific to their condition and actually valuable and also easy to follow, because we don't want to overwhelm them from the start, right? And so that's the easiest way to set up lead gen, is to create a simple 1 to 3 page PDF, put it behind an opt-in page, and put an automation on the back of it so that it gets delivered when people subscribe to your email list. And then you use your Instagram content and your LinkedIn content and your Facebook content to promote your lead magnet. And so all of the content that you are creating has a call to action. And that call to action drives people, your ideal clients, to your lead magnet. And that is how you use social media to grow your email list. Okay, that was step number 6, lead gen and list building. Step number 7, leverage social media for client acquisition. So leverage social media to grow your email list and to get clients. Most people, most practitioners and coaches are using social media wrong. They are using it wrong. They are using it to just, again, educate. You are not a teacher at a holistic nutrition school, so your Instagram feed should not read like one. It should also not be a random sampling of like all the things. Your entire online presence, including your personal page on Facebook, whatever personal accounts you have, you are the brand and you must be represented as such at all times, because when somebody Googles your name, they're going to find your personal Facebook page. They're going to find your Instagram page. And so we want to make sure that we are using all the features. You're using Instagram feed to educate and to nurture and to move people. You're using stories to get people to know you and like you in real time. You're using Reels to grow your audience. You're using your Facebook business page. You're using LinkedIn to connect with other people who are your ideal clients. And so when you are creating social media content, you're not just randomly creating content. You're creating content based on the content pillars that you have created for your business. And you are using calls to action to drive that social media follower to the next stage in your lead to client journey. So many practitioners and coaches are wasting their time on social media because they don't understand the strategy of how to leverage it to grow their email list and how to get clients. And so that's step number 7. And I will also say, as a tie back to step number 1, if you don't have step number 1 nailed, you're not going to know what to write on social media. And then you're going to like give a dissertation on, the phases of liver detoxification, which again, only us nerds care about. Like the lay people, they don't care, right? They just, again, they want to know, like, is there a tea I can buy for that? Right? Is there a tea I can drink? Yeah, dandelion. But anywho, step number 8, client onboarding and retention. So we've sort of gotten to this place in the ultimate guide where we are now enrolling clients, right? If we take a step backwards and we say, okay, we've created a niche and an ideal client, we've done the elevator pitch, you've created the coaching program, you've built your online presence, you have a content and marketing strategy, you're lead genning, you're leveraging social so that you can actually get clients. Now we're talking about enrollment. And so now you need a process-driven, outcome-driven enrollment strategy that is rinse and repeat, right? So you're not selling them something over here one day and then telling them to go over there one day and then telling them to go over here. The lead to client journey is fixed, right? The lead to client journey is fixed so that you can use your social media, you can use your webinar, and you are telling everyone to go to this one place where they can buy from you. Either it's a sales page or it's an enrollment call. Those are basically your two options. They're either buying right off a page without having to talk to you, or they're talking to you. And so that's your choice. And so you have an enrollment process that you follow, right? You either sell them off of a page, you sell them on a call, and then what happens? Then they need access to your coaching program. And this is where you do client onboarding. So client onboarding is really important because this is their experience with you, right? This is the first experience they have as a paying client. And so your automation system, whatever email marketing platform you use, sends them a welcome email. It gives them access to your content hub. It could include any client forms or client contracts that you want to include. If you if you want them to do any type of testing or sell any type of products, it would include that as well. And so you're thinking of your onboarding as their step-by-step instructions of how they're going to get the most out of your program. And so client onboarding leads to client retention, because if you don't have a solid client onboarding experience where you are putting the client experience at the forefront of your automations of your emails versus just like sending them the receipt and then sending them like the what's the word I'm thinking of, like sending them the templated email without any instruction at all, it doesn't matter how good your program is. That is a bad experience, and they will remember that. And so when we think about client onboarding, we want to think about welcoming them into like a 5-star experience and carrying that experience all the way through the program, providing regular check-ins, providing follow-ups, holding them accountable, little surprise and delight bonuses throughout their coaching program, right? How are you going to be collecting testimonials and showcasing other success stories, even for people who are in the program? They need motivation. They want to see it, right? And so that's step number 9 is now we're tracking, right? Tracking is so important. I made a massive mistake and I relied heavily, solely on my feelings to make decisions in my online coaching business. And it's very bad. I do not recommend that because your feelings are not real. They are just your feelings, and your feelings are based on your own beliefs and your self-worth and your trauma and all of that good stuff. And math is math. Math doesn't care about your feelings. So your conversion rates and your click-through rates and the amount you're spending to run the whole shebang, that's real. And so when you have tracking in place, you're able to then look at the metrics, you're able to assess them, and you're able to make smart professional decisions that lead to the growth of your business versus relying on your feelings that maybe are not all correct because you have this idea and you think it's really good, but the data is telling you that this thing that you've been doing for so long is actually working. And so that's step number 9. And so tracking, metrics are key. So that is the ultimate guide for practitioners and coaches to set up their online coaching business. I hope it was helpful. I hope that it gave you a map of what you will need to do in order to get your entire online coaching business set up. And if this was helpful, please let me know below in the comments. And remember to hit that subscribe button and that bell so that you get notified every single time I release a new video. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye.